That's fine. Good morning, Gunnersville First. We are so glad you have joined us for worship today and for our Sunday school and small groups. And thank you for joining us online and here in-house to hear a presentation from Rebecca Morris. She comes representing Embrace Alabama Kids. We know that as the United Methodist Children's Home of Alabama. But their new name also is a symbol of some of the great and new things they're doing beyond just those children's homes. So we are so grateful today for Rebecca and her willingness to come and share her thoughts with us about Embrace Alabama Kids. And as your senior pastor, I also want to say thank you for your love and support for a ministry such as this. Every Christmas Eve, we have a White Christmas offering. And that White Christmas offering completely, in its entirety, goes to support Embrace Alabama Kids. So, Rebecca, thank you for being with us today, and the floor is yours.
Thank you so much, Pastor Ricky. It is a pleasure to be with y'all today, and I'm so excited about sharing with about Embrace Alabama Kids, a ministry of the United Methodist Children's Home. I want to just start off with saying thank you. We cannot do our ministry without the support of individuals and churches. And when I approached Pastor Ricky about coming to share more about it, I shared that y'all's church had given a significant amount, and therefore we were presenting an award. And I think you were shocked when you found out how much this church has supported us. And I'm pleased to report now it's even more from when I reported a few weeks ago. But Gunnersville First United Methodist Church has supported us at a rate that's just amazing. It makes a difference to our kids. We have received over $180,000 from your congregation. And thank you for that. You'll hear more about it, of what we do to go above and beyond. Again, we can't do our ministry without extra support. We do get money from the state for taking care of the children, but it's minimal. It doesn't even keep clothes and lights on at our ministry because it is an expensive ministry that we do, and we are spread out all over the state of Alabama and the Panhandle of Florida. And I'm going to go over all of our different ministries, and I'm not ignoring Florida, but everything we do in Alabama, we replicate in Florida. And we serve the 4 counties that most of you all vacation in along the Gulf Coast. And many of us just spend our time the 10 miles by the water and going north. But if you go further north, there's a great need. So just know that everything we do in Alabama, we do in Florida also. Before I get into the different ministries that we do, I do want to share about our name change to Embrace Alabama Kids. I think many people have questions about it, but I do want to just mention that we changed our name in Florida over 2.5 years ago to Embrace Florida Kids. We did that because there was another United Methodist Children's Home. We'd get checks for them, they'd get checks for us, and after much discussion, we decided that we wanted to move forward with changing our name to Embrace Florida Kids. We had such great reception of our new name. We had always discussed that we were going to do it in Alabama, but we weren't sure of the time frame. We talked to many, many pastors. We interviewed church members, supporters, our board, and we decided that we were going to go ahead and change to Embrace Alabama Kids. The timing was uncertain, then COVID hit, and we decided we were going to take advantage of not being out meeting with churches, pastors, and donors, and we did a lot of work to change to embrace Alabama kids. This spring is when we did the official name change, and I want to share a letter from one of our former residents and a former board member that we received after the name change. Dear Rebecca, thought I would write to you and give my opinion on the new name of the children's home. When I was a child living on the Selma campus, the name Children's Home was very fitting. Nearly all of the children came from loving and caring parents and grandparents, as in my family's case. We had lost our father in 1942, and our mother could not provide a living for us. I will always remember the first day we arrived on the Selma campus in 1945. I knew we were welcome, and that was where we needed to be. I was 10 years old. After 8 years, I was ready to go out on my own. I received loving care and so many opportunities that helped me all my life, and God kept his hand on me and my family. I'm so thankful for the home. The children you have now need more than we needed. They come from different backgrounds, and now they need the embrace you provide. I often think of the needs that they have done without. The children's home is trying to fix some of the hurts, so the name Embrace is so fitting to the child now. I'm so very thankful the home was there for me and my family. You all are doing a great job, and I've spoken to others who called it home, and they have agreed about the name change to Embrace Alabama Kids. Love, Miss Iverson. So as I said, Miss Iverson grew up at the children's home. And many of y'all probably know about the Selma campus. This is where kids from all over the state came when they needed the home. And I just want to say that because we still care for kids all over the state in all of our different ministries y'all are about to hear about. They come from this area. They come from South Alabama, Central Alabama, Northeast Alabama. We have ministries all over. Just because we don't have one in a particular county or city does not mean that we're not serving kids from that area. So I'm going to start off with talking about our Babies First program. This is a home that we were able to build actually during COVID also. We got a lot accomplished during COVID, especially when you know the building industry. We had started this prior to COVID, and we had a home in Mobile, and it was for teenage moms and their babies. These are for moms who have decided to keep their babies. They want to raise them, and they come and live with us. The home we had been repurposed for years, 20 plus years, and we could only house 4 moms and 4 babies. And as you can probably imagine, teenage moms plus their babies, a lot of wear and tear on the house. During COVID, we were able to complete a 10-bedroom, 10-bath home, and now we can house 10 moms and up to 14 babies if there's twins or if a mom has multiple children. This ministry is one of 2 in the state of Alabama that takes care of foster teens and their babies, where they can come together and bond, and we can teach the mothers how to be a mother. All these kids that come to us are most likely coming from a traffic situation, abusive situation, generational issues. They come to us and we teach them structure, love, spiritual care, proper nutrition, everything that you and I take for granted. We have an incredible staff, and through all of our programs, our staff that dedicate their time day in and day out when they're there for days on of taking care and loving on these teenage moms and kids. I'm going to tell you a story about a Babies First that when I first started, I've been with the children's home now, I'm going on 9 years. One of the first kids I met and the mother, they were at Babies First. And I'll say this about all of our ministries, that our staff, it becomes part of who we are. It becomes part of our passion. Our families get to know their families, and we just enjoy being with each other. One thing that we do on a regular basis before COVID is we would have an awards celebration where we would have kids come in from all of our different programs, and we would celebrate them for 2 or 3 days. Our kids are not the ones that normally win awards at the school banquets, and so we find reasons to celebrate them. Well, the first summer that I was working, and I went with my family, and all the kids came, and all the moms came, and there was probably about 60 of us there, and I got to meet DJ. DJ and his mom were in Babies First. He had been born there, and we were able to love on him, watch him develop. Well, throughout the years, it was a tough decision, and we had to make the decision that the mother was not fit to take care of him. And so he was moved, and we really lost track of him. At the groundbreaking of the Babies First home in Mobile, in August, I invited some of our significant donors, some that I had never met, just to thank them and so they could be part of this new home that we're building for these teenage moms and babies. One of them came up to me when she got there, and she said, I think I'm fostering and about to adopt a baby, a kid that was in Babies First. And she used his full name, and I said, you mean DJ? And she said, yes. And I said, you've got to hold on just a minute, because I've got to get our staff to hear this, because we had lost track of him. We do everything we can to keep up with our kids when they get moved or they age out, but some of it's out of our control. And it was for this little boy that we raised him. So I'm going to grab these pictures real quick. This is my first summer when I was we were at the celebration for all of our kids, and this is DJ. And obviously you can tell he's full of love. Then this is another picture of my youngest son eating breakfast another year with DJ. And I've got videos, and obviously he's loved by everybody, great personality. So fast forward to the groundbreaking, and we just all cried when we found out, we knew where DJ was and that he was getting adopted by a lovely family. Come to the murals that y'all have here. We did a painting, some of those murals in Mobile, and DJ came, and he painted some of those murals that are here. This is DJ and me at the mural painting, and I kept my sunglasses on for a reason, because I had tears flowing down my eyes when I saw him and his family. He's got an older sister and an older brother. He's been baptized. And one of the most beautiful things that speaks to our staff that love on these kids, again, all the time, is Miss Blondine. She retired, but she is his surrogate grandmother now. She was at his baptism. She goes to his sporting events. She is part of his life now. And that's just to share one success story at Babies First. We have many of them. The babies' lives are changed. The mothers' lives are changed. And again, this is a home in Mobile that serves kids from this area, that serves kids from Birmingham. It's one of two ministries that helps train and teach and love on these teenage moms that have had such a difficult time so they can care for their babies. So now I'm going to move to family preservation. And family preservation is done in different areas of our state, and it is one of the most important ministries I think that we have. Family preservation is when a family in your community has been identified as that if something doesn't change, their children are most likely going to be removed. Or their children have been removed, but the parents have been on the right track and they're going to get reunified with the family. Our family preservation staff work with that family, and they're on call 24/7. They can work anywhere from up to 3 to 6 months with this family, depending on the needs. And we have a huge success rate with this ministry. We used to have over a 90% success rate of keeping families together if they were identified that things weren't going right. It's dropped some to about a little over 70%, and that's because we used to not work with families that were dealing with addictions. We are doing that now, and as many of y'all know, that gives us other things that we've got to take into consideration. But we still have a huge success of keeping families together. I've heard stories where our staff have gone in the homes to teach how to clean a house. You and I take that for granted, I think, that we know that things have to be picked up, but I've heard where the staff have gone in and their kitchen, you can't even see the sink or counters because they have stuff all over it. Our staff get in there and clean up and teach them, and then they're back every day or every other day to maintain, to make sure they're doing what they're supposed to. I've also heard stories about where there's up to 3 or 4 generations of family living under one roof, and it's been generational dysfunction in that home. And we're able to go work with the family and change from the 101 great-great-grandmother to the newborn baby that's just come home, where that newborn baby might not have been able to come home had they not been working with our ministry. Staff have told me that 2 a.m., they just had a feeling things weren't right at this house. They will just go drive by to make sure the lights are off, things look normal from the outside. If the staff or if the families have both are working parents and the child needs to go somewhere, our staff step in. And this is such a great ministry because many times these families look at the court system, at DHR, as I'm taking your children away, I'm here to get you, where they look at us as an ally through this, that we are there to help them and help them learn how to relate and teach them how to properly communicate with their kids, properly discipline their kids. Any extra needs that they might have, we're there to help them. So the family preservation, I cannot speak highly enough, and the staff that go out there into these homes. It's looked a little different through COVID. We've had to get creative, but many of the home visits now just take place outside. And it's great to see the bond that our families and our staff create, that, again, we're there for them, even if off the paper we're not in a contract with them to serve their family. If they need something, they know that they can call us. And we're able to do that because of individual and church support. So we've been over babies first, family preservation, foster care. Many of y'all know about foster care. I'm sure that y'all probably have friends or family that have fostered children, and we've got different types of foster care that we do. We do basic foster care, which you would think of as it's just a child, put them in the foster care home. I really don't think any foster care situation should be named basic, because these kids are coming with some sort of abuse or neglect or abandonment issues. And so there's therapies that are needed, specialized care. But when it goes above and beyond that, we have an enhanced foster care, which is siblings of 4 or 5 kids that get placed in one home. And then we also have therapeutic foster care. Therapeutic foster care is when a child has a diagnosis, and it could be a behavior, mental, physical, any sort of diagnosis. We have specially trained foster parents that do that. To me, that is an amazing ministry. There's many stories I could share there. One of them is we have a foster family. It's not even a foster family anymore because they've adopted the 2 girls, but they were in their 60s. They had already raised their families, and then they started to foster, and they wanted to do therapeutic. They started fostering these 2 little girls that were nonverbal and had some major speech issues. I have a child, my youngest that's in that picture, has a speech disorder, and I know the time and the effort that goes into helping kids with situations like that. I can't imagine signing up to redo that at 60 years old like this family did. They have now, as I said, adopted these 2 little girls. They can speak now. They're involved in their community. They're doing well in school. They still have extra support from us, but they also have a family. These 2 girls really were in a bad situation until this foster family in Embrace, Alabama came around to help them. Another story with foster care is we get this question all the time, and this is another therapeutic situation. What happens when they age out? Are y'all done with them? Or it's the same situation with adoption. We are always going to be a part of their lives if they want that. There's a young lady who starts texting me. I keep up with her all through the year, but she's 26. She has some mental limitations, and we have a foster family. They're her family now because they've adopted her. And at the beginning of October, I always get a text from her about her birthday coming up. And I always feel so honored. And then the staff remind me, Rebecca, she just wants a present from you. She really is not interested in you coming to the birthday party. I'm sorry about that ringing. And this October, she said, emailed me or texted me and said, my birthday's coming up. I'm going to have to shut that off or it's going to distract me. Now I can keep up with my time, too, because I keep forgetting to look over there. And so 2 days ago, she texted me and said, you know, my birthday's today. Of course, I knew her birthday was. Then she starts telling me her dog's birthday's in 3 days. So every year I send her a gift card to go to the pet store. And her adoptive mother said how much she loves it because she feels like she has her own money, her own credit card. And so hopefully she'll share with me what she gets, but I'm not sure if she will. Again, we stay in touch with her. She told me she was going out to lunch with her foster care, who was her foster care supervisor, I think today for her birthday. Again, our kids, they do age out on paper, but they never age out of our hearts. We have foster kids all over the state, and we have over 150 foster families. The way I like to share that our role, the kids are still in DHR custody, but when they come into our foster care system, we can go above and beyond for these foster families. I like to say we are a concierge service. If a foster family needs a car seat, if they need a baby bed, again, if both parents work and the child needs to go to the doctor, our staff step in and take these children. We just did a Halloween party for one of our programs over in Tuscaloosa, where our older kids organized the party and the younger kids came. My youngest son, his Halloween costume came from an idea of one of our older kids. They had a ramen noodle outfit on, and my son loves ramen noodles, so I ordered the same outfit, and we made a box that looks like a microwave. And so I sent an email and said, make sure you tell him how much I appreciate the idea for my son's Halloween costume. Again, we do everything that y'all do with your kids, from Halloween, from Christmas, Thanksgiving. Last year, one of our programs did a Halloween pumpkin carving contest, and our older kids, who we thought were not going to get into it, loved it because they had never carved pumpkins. So sometimes it's the first that we get to do with some of our kids. The next ministry I would like to talk about is Mary Ellen's Hearth. And again, this serves moms from all over the state. These are adult moms with children. And this is a ministry that we took on pre-COVID, and they were looking for an executive director. And they didn't have the administrative staff that we have, and I will speak to that right now, that most of our staff are in the programs. We have a support center that has our CEO, HR, finance, and external affairs. My office is in Birmingham. This other one's in Montgomery. Mary Ellen's Hearth, along with our administrative offices, are in Montgomery. So we went to this ministry and asked them if they would consider joining and being a partner with us, and we would run the ministry and do their HR, do their finance, do their business, their fundraising, and we would take on all their staff, and they would become part of our ministry. And it worked out so well that now that they are fully integrated, and this is a ministry again to moms that have 1, 2, or 3 children, adult moms, and it's in Montgomery. And I believe it can have up to about 12 or 14 moms. And then, of course, if you've got 2 or 3 babies, 2 or 3 kids, it is a large, large facility. During COVID, it was quite difficult getting things online for the kids to go to school, but I think we purchased over 70 computers for all of our kids through COVID. Again, the Mary Ellen's Hearth is where we're teaching the moms. They have to cook for their kids. They have to go to work every day. They have to get their kids to school. Again, it is teaching them how to be a mother and break generational curses. So that's Mary Ellen's Hearth in Montgomery. And then in Birmingham, we have the Overton Home. And again, this serves kids from all over the state. The Overton Home has kids that have autism. And we have 8 boys in that home. It is in partnership with Glenwood. And Glenwood is they are the top of the top for taking care of kids with mental autistic needs or adults. And they do children all the way to adults. We've been in partnership with them, I think this is our 6th year, where they manage that home and they take care of those kids. Those kids come from all different backgrounds. Some might be in the state custody. Others have family support, but their behaviors and their needs are too great to be taken care of at home. Many of the kids there are nonverbal, and that home is anywhere from 12 to 18-year-olds. We have just finished building an outdoor space for these kids because we did not have a safe environment besides the driveway in the front yard for them that they could really go into. And many of these kids can get extremely overstimulated, and this now provides the staff and the kids a place to go and be able to be outside. As y'all all know, when it's a pretty day like this, it's good to get outside. So we're excited about the Overton Home, and we would love to potentially do more partnerships. As I spoke of Mary Ellen's Hearth, of that ministry, and the Overton Home, when we find like-minded ministries, we would love to talk with them and see if there's a potential for partnership. We don't see the need to necessarily reinvent a ministry if it's already being done. But as I said, we've got great structures in place already that we could work together. The other ministry I'd like to talk about is school readiness, and we do this in different parts of the state also. And this is a smaller ministry, but it's very important, of where we work with undereducated and underserved areas. Where we're teaching the parents how to be their child's first teacher. As many of you can relate, going into kindergarten for the first time can be very intimidating if you're educated and you have everything, you appear to have everything put together. But for moms that maybe don't speak English well, they didn't graduate from high school, we're going into these homes and working with these moms to build their family unit up so when these kids go to kindergarten that they're ready. The school readiness program is one that has great success also, and usually these kids are going to school, they know their letters, they know their numbers, they can read their sight words, and so they're sometimes a step ahead, which gives them the confidence to continue with their education. The last two ministries I'm going to talk about are our higher education homes and our group homes, or one of our group homes down in the Dothan area. Again, both of these serve kids from all over the state. Before I jump into those, I do want to just speak at our group home. We have transitional living behind the apartments. Behind the home. Transitional living is when our kids have either shown great independence, they have a job, and they're ready to learn to go the next step of independence. And so we set them up in an apartment where they have their own kitchen, they have to cook for themselves, but if they decide to spend all their money on a video game, they have dinner. We're not going to let them go hungry, but we teach them the next month that you've got to manage your money a little bit more. So the settlement home that I spoke of earlier, we have boys there, teenage boys. I have 3 teenage boys. This home has anywhere from 5 to 8, depending on what the kids are doing. And I just am amazed at how well these boys do. They are into sports. They clean their rooms. Our staff work with them on spiritual development. They go to church. These boys seem to always, when we used to do our celebration weekends, they would always win Bible trivia. But this is a home. Once they go into the independent living or graduate from high school, we always work for the next step. We don't know they all could take different tracks. We have one young man that just finished his certificate for heating and air. We provided all the support for him to do that. The other young man that I'm going to share about is Eric. And Eric, he came to us when he was 8, and he was very timid, scared, anything that you would think of. And he started school, he did sports, and started really opening up. He started feeling like he belonged. He graduated from high school, and he decided he wanted to move into the apartments behind, try community college. After a few months, he was like, this is not what I want to do. He didn't have the structure that he was used to, and he just kind of felt like he was floundering. Through our group home manager there, who's a lifelong military man, he said, you need to try the military and go into the Army. He did not want to do that, but through John's encouragement, they went and he did it. And he graduated from basic training. During basic training, he was a leader. When he graduated, I went, plus all his brothers from the group home, plus all of our staff. And I say that because we are his family. And again, we are able to take all those boys because of your support. That is something that's not reimbursed by the state. We loaded them up, drove to Georgia, spent the night in a hotel, took them all out to dinner to celebrate his graduation. and I didn't know this, but when you graduate, you send a letter home to your family so they get it before graduation. And he sent this letter to his brothers at the group home. And he said, "Dear brothers, this whole experience has been a huge change to me mentally, physically, and spiritually. I've learned that nobody in this world is ready to hand you anything. You have to work your rear off and go get it. Most importantly, I found a friend that would never leave my side in any situation, and that's God. Whenever I had no one to turn to, he was right there protecting me the entire time. He'll never leave you or forsake you, even when you reach your lowest points. I appreciate everything that Embrace Alabama Kids has done for me. You all helped shape me into the man I'm becoming, and y'all are the reason I'm physically and mentally fit to be part of one of the strongest fighting forces in the world. I wouldn't trade you guys for anything in the world. And Mr. John, Miss Joy, Miss Lisa, Mr. Scott, and Miss Janet are the foundation of the future of every child that comes through. I'm blessed to have had great role models in my life. I appreciate every punishment I received, every dish I had to soak, every dollar I was told to save, every decision that was supported, and every time they told me no. I love you guys, and I will see you at graduation. By the time y'all get this, I will officially be a soldier in the United States Army. Love, Private White." That is one of my favorite things to share. And then a few weeks ago, or really about 3 or 4 weeks ago, well, this is us at his graduation right here. One of the pictures I just love. And then a few weeks ago, I got a text from Miss Janet and said he's home for 3 weeks on vacation, and he's home at our group home because we are his home. And here he's beefed up a little bit and looks a little more mature, and that's the transitional living apartment behind it. But that's what I just love, is that home, we are home. We've had many other kids that have gone into the military, and they have gone, when they sign up, their next of kin is us. And it's not anybody in their family because they feel like we are their family. The last ministry I'm going to share about is our higher education homes. Many of our group home boys, we've got a group home boy that is in our higher education ministry. Again, these are kids that have come from different parts of the state. We have a home in Tuscaloosa and in Florence. The one in Tuscaloosa is for boys, the one in Florence for girls. We learned really quick, this is our 7th year doing this ministry. And let me back up real quick. These 2 homes are 100% privately financed. We take no money for the state for these kids in college. They do receive tuition through federal funding, but we provide the home, the staff, the support for these kids 24/7. In Tuscaloosa, we learned very quickly our boys usually are not ready for the University of Alabama. We made that mistake 1 year, and then we decided they're all going to enroll in Shelton State unless they have tuition scholarship money from the university. And they've done so much better now that we've gotten that foundation at a smaller school. And then if they want to matriculate into the university, once they get some of their basic, they can do that. Our higher education homes, the support and the wraparound service our kids get is what makes it successful. Many foster kids that attempt college, they usually don't finish. It's usually a 2 to 7% for foster kids to finish college. When you think about if they're a foster child and go into college, when the dorms shut, where do they go? There's nowhere. So we felt very strongly about our higher education homes being there 24/7. When we accept them into our program in the higher education, that's their home as long as they follow the rules and progress towards graduation. And we have changed and transitioned this ministry over the last 7 years, so it looks really different than what we started 7 years ago. And we've learned that through our kids of helping us become better at what we do. The boys' home, we've had a little more turnover than the girls, which is, I think, a national average, too, of boys not going to college as much. But we also are a place where if they fail, they can get back up and try again. One of the stories I love to share is about a young man. He was in our first class, and he was doing great. He was going to his classes, and then things kind of started going downhill. And he just said, "I really just want to drink beer and sit on the couch during college." And we had to let him know that's really not what this is about. And so we put some structures in place, and he kept going outside, and we eventually had to make accommodations for him to leave. After about 6 months, he called us and he said, what y'all are doing is really good, and I made a big mistake. And we said, well, you do these 4 to 6 things, and once those are done, let us know and reapply, and we will reconsider. And he is now a graduate. I got a call from him about 4 weeks ago, and he said, Miss Rebecca, I know I should know a lot about foster care and everything, but I don't, and I've got some questions. And he was one of our kids. He was not in foster care. Because these programs are not part of the state-run programs, we're able to take couch surfers, that's what we call them, where they're kids who are super resourceful to stay out of foster care because they don't want the stigma. But what happens is when they go to college or they age out, they have no support because they're not in the system. And so we're able to take these kids. So the young man that had called me, he is now married. He's had the same job for 4 years, I think at Ram Tool. He's in some sort of logistical management position. He's married, and his wife is a teacher, and she was seeing some abuse in one of her children, and he was so concerned. And so he called, and again, I didn't have all the answers, so I connected him with someone in the programs, and Miss Janet told me, she said, I think I've talked to him 18 times in the last 3 days. But again, that goes to show of the support that we're there. He doesn't keep up with us often, but when he needs something, we're there for him. The last story is about one of our young girls that's are really sisters that are in our higher education home in Florence. They actually come from northeast part of the state, and they were very resourceful and stayed out of foster care. They were in foster care as little girls, got out of it, and lived with a family friend. But again, the family friend was like, once y'all graduate from high school, you've got to figure something else out. So one of them started with us, and her little sister, I think, was 13 when she started with us. And we were so impressed with these 2 young girls. And I have stayed in touch with them. The older sister has been promoted multiple times. She's married. She has 2 children. And her younger sister always wanted to be a nurse. But our ministry was, you have to go to UNA. And she wanted to go to UAB. And so she decided she was going to sacrifice her nursing desires so she could be part of our family. Because she knew the support she would get. She knew that we were going to wrap around her, that there would be mission trip opportunities. She was actually going, before COVID, she had signed up to study abroad in Spain. That didn't happen because of COVID. But she wanted to be part of our ministry. And she did so well her first year, and did the younger sister, and did everything that she was supposed to. Afterwards, she came and presented us with a proposal of her transferring to UAB. She had already done all her work to say, this is what I have to do. And we allowed that, and because she was doing so well, she still has to meet with our managers on a weekly, monthly basis and do things to stay connected. And this is a picture when the 2 sisters, this is in New York, when they went on a mission trip with us. And I share this just because being who we are and being mission-oriented, we want our kids the opportunity to serve. And so we take, prior to COVID, we took our kids on mission trips. We've been to Chicago, New York, New Orleans, Santa Fe, and there's one other. And we want our kids to know that they have value and they can give back. The kids also have never had the experience to travel. We know there's great need in Alabama and great need in all of our communities, and they serve on a regular basis in their communities. But because of what we're able to do and because of your support, we get to provide them with a travel experience where maybe they've never been out of their county. And we're teaching them that the world is bigger, that they have value and they can serve others. Just this summer or this spring, this is the older sister at her baby shower, and just celebrating her second child that's coming. I do have one last story that I'll share, and then I'll close. About another young lady. She has graduated also. She lives up in this area, and she's got one more semester, I believe, of her MBA and will graduate. She just got married. She just shared with me that she interviewed and expects to get a job, or she was offered a job with the Department of Defense doing some sort of accounting. And during COVID, this is her in front of her new house that she just bought. I've been to her house. It's beautiful. And these stories, we've got many, many stories. And I've got some material that I'm going to leave wherever it's most convenient. And I hope that you'll pick it up. This is a really good piece that tells personal stories like this for all of our ministries. Again, we can't do our ministry. We can't go on the mission trips. We can't take them to celebrate their successes. We can't go above and beyond without individual and church support. We are thankful for Gunterville First United Methodist Church and all that y'all have done. As I said, y'all have been amazing supporters, and we are so very thankful. Thank you, Pastor Ricky.
Well, thank you for sharing that with us today. We had no idea that the ministry of Embrace Alabama Kids was that extensive, and you do so very much, and we at Guntersville First are so happy to be a part in that, supporters in that, and to learn that we've given over $180,000 over the past years, and our White Christmas offering is just above and beyond to me. So thank you, Guntersville First, for your great support of the children of our state and for Embrace Alabama Kids. And again, thank you for Rebecca for joining us today. This recording will be on our website, on our Embrace page. If you go to our website and hit the menu, it drops down, it says Ministry. When you hit the Ministry tab, you have an Embrace tab. If you click on there, here in a few days, we'll have this video. And information concerning these ministries are there already. So again, church, thank you for your generosity and your love for all of God's children. Thank you so very much.